record.
Okay, so thank you again for coming here and meeting us here. So first, can you state your name, title, and what you do here?
I'm Nancy Hertzog, and I'm the director of the Robinson Center for Young Scholars, and I'm also on faculty in the College of Education in the area of learning sciences and human development.
So we're seeking to understand more about the gifted education and the history of the Robinson Center and how Robinson Center plays into that role. So how did the Robinson Center come to be? Like, what was the motivation and impetus for this program to come about?
It's my understanding that Dr. Nancy Robinson and her husband Halbert Robinson started the program. Actually, it was Halbert in 1977 when they were looking for a place for their daughter, who was very advanced, to go to school. And they just started this program and let her go into the university. There was no transition school at that time.
Okay.
And they did that for a couple of years, and then in about, I think, 1981, Hal Robinson died and Nancy Robinson took over. And they developed a transition school for those kids after 7th or 8th grade who were ready to go to college, and then they spent 1 year getting them ready, giving them a curriculum that would help them be successful in the university.
So how has the Robinson Center grew and developed over the years?
So that was their first early entrance program, and in 2 years ago we celebrated its 35th anniversary, so it's 37 years old. And we then added, this is the 13th year of the UW Academy. We found that there were a lot of students who weren't quite ready to go to the university. So they would go to high school for 2 years, and then we started the program that after 10th grade, students could come and enter the University of Washington. So we still have those two programs. And then we have summer programs. We serve about 650 kids in the summer. We have two different summer programs. One is Summer Challenge for 5th and 6th graders, and one is Summer Stretch for 7th through 10th graders. And then when I came 5 years ago, we started a Saturday program. And the purpose of the Saturday program was to bring kids on board who just had a passion and an interest in their core subject areas.
Right.
And then they would have no qualifications, just sheer interest. And a lot of those summer school kids now are in our early entrance programs.
So how did each of those stages come to be? Was there a specific person who instigated the reform, who thought, oh yeah, this is a great program to do? Or like, was it over a lot of planning or a lot of investigation?
I think every new program has a lot of planning. You see need, for the academy program, there was only 16 kids enter the TS transition school. So a lot of those students who we saw, and again, I wasn't here then, but who they saw, they realized that in a couple years they would be ready for college. So that was just looking at the need for such a program. And then it was a bunch of people working together. There were the current provost, Anna Mari Kasi. She was head of the psychology department, and this building is the psychology department.
Oh.
And so she and the assistant director and Nancy Robinson, they developed, and Dr. Halverson developed this program called the UW Academy, and they planned it. And the summer program has been here for years. The Saturday program came to us from a teacher who wanted to teach math on Saturdays and wanted to use our space. And I said, well, I'm brand new to the university. I don't know what the insurance risks if somebody is using our space that isn't employed by us. So we employed him. His name is Dan Finkel, and he and his wife, Catherine Cook, they sort of helped us develop our Saturday program. It started out with just math. Now we teach math, science, philosophy, creative writing.
Wow.
So we have about 150 kids each term take Saturday classes.
So that really shows that the Robinson Center is very communicative with the University of Washington, with the psychology department, I suppose.
So my appointment is not in psychology. Nancy Robinson's was.
Okay.
And so now we're forging ties with the College of Education. Many of our graduate students who teach for us come from the College of Ed. They also come from, philosophy, math department, English department. All of our transition school teachers come to us. Tom Kramer got his PhD in history here, came to us from the history department. So we are very grateful that this environment provides us a lot of good teachers. You know, we are looking for people who are passionate about their subject and who have advanced degrees in their content area.
Right. So how does the Robinson Center and the University of Washington work together to meet, because there are highly capable laws within the state of Washington, so does the Robinson Center seek to satisfy that need in the Puget Sound area, or could you elaborate a little bit more?
So one of the most interesting aspects of the Robinson Center for the students who go here is their portion of funding that they would be attending in their home schools, we get to serve them.
Okay.
So that pays for our academic advisor, our counseling intern, all of our bridge program when we do services to prep them. It does not pay for their college courses. They pay for their college courses, right? But there is a contract that we have every 2 years. It's reissued to us to provide the needs of those students and allow them to come into the early entrance school. So it's until the maximum amount of funding we get is for 3 years for the transition school. So the year that they're in transition school, and then 2 years, their freshman and sophomore year here.
So this is negotiated every single term for every single class with the Washington State?
Every 2 years.
Okay, every 2 years.
The OSPI provides us a contract to serve up to 30 kids.
Okay.
Or I think it's up to 30 kids per year or something. We have 35 for the academy and 16.
And in general, how have the students responded to the Robinson Center education? How do they usually go off to be very successful at the university level?
So we just finished, I'm going to get up for a second for your video. We just finished an alumni study where we sent a survey and we had 192 responses. And overwhelmingly, our graduates do well, okay? Their grade point average is higher than the UW average. The number of PhDs is 20 times that of the general population.
Wow.
The general population gets about 1.9% of them get PhDs. Ours are over 20% get PhDs. They're in top Research One institution graduate schools. They go on to graduate schools. 94% of alumni said they were satisfied with their choices, and 89% of them said they would choose to attend the program again. And this is both the very young ones, the ones that come after 7th or 8th grade, and the older ones that come after 10th grade.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
That is
They've
amazing
received,
statistics.
yeah.
Wow.
Now, the UW also has a higher PhD rate because of all of our medical facilities here, and so we're 14 times what the UW graduates.
Wow. Those are just amazing
I
numbers.
know, right? And they're young, and their grade point average at the end of their 4 years here is about 3.67 or 3.68. And the grade point average for most UW students is under 3. It's 2.91. So think about that too, right? The average, it's still, the UW students is still greater than average at 2, but it's...
UW is pretty awesome.
Yet it's 2.91, yeah. And ours are 3.67, 3.68.
So moving away from the statistics and I suppose the intellectual knowledge, how does the gifted education that Robinson Center provides substantiate students in emotional growth or maturity levels? Because these are very, very young students that you're bringing into the university level.
So that's a very interesting question because of the only dissatisfaction, the variance of the dissatisfaction tended to be in the area of social relations because of their relationship with the Robinson Center. So for example, our cohorts that come in to EAP is the early entrance program from transition school. Those are the 16 kids that imagine instead of going to high school at all, they spend 1 year with us and then they go on. And so the boys are 13, 14 years old.
Right.
Now imagine them in classes. So they report they can't really date very much. They tend to date each other, other RC students. So the EAPers date, both the EAPers and the ACADS, they date the same amount, but the EAPers, the youngest ones, date more RC students, right, than the general population of students.
Right.
They say for some of them, the cohort group is fabulous. They make great friends. They're lifelong friends.
Mm-hmm.
But for some of them, they say that we're too protective, that it's like a brother and sister kind of thing going on in here. And, you know, they didn't really get out into the university. It wasn't a college experience. Most of them lived at home, right? Especially if you're an EPR, you'll live at home and probably graduate, and then some of them say the first time they're out on their own is when they're in graduate school.
Right.
And one of them quoted, well, it's like, you know, usually you get to do training wheel kind of things in high school and try things out, but that's a little hard to do in graduate school.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so the youth does make a difference in their social relationships. We have hired this year a counseling psych doc student to do emotional check-ins, you know, like every Friday he goes in and, you know, how are things going, how's your stress level, and we have on both, what I call both sides of the center. So the EAP and the CADS get their check-in on Tuesdays, and we're doing more of that. We have mentorship programs, and we're paying attention to that, you know. So there's a lot of cohort building and a lot of peer mentoring.
Right. Okay, so I imagine that this is a topic of discussion within the gifted education community throughout the United States, right? So how has the Robinson Center been able to use the cutting-edge research that's going on there to supplement their students here?
So there's a lot of research that says acceleration is beneficial, but very little research about the type of what we have in the EAP program called radical acceleration. Usually when people accelerate, they kind of do what you do. They finish high school a bit early. They may go on to take online classes or community college classes, but very few people in the country go to college at 13, right? And we have cohorts that do that. So, so what this research shows is that it's not bad. You know, the majority of our students do absolutely fine. But it also shows where there are areas to improve on, and, you know, to tell guys up front, hey, this may not be your best dating experience when you come here. And that's to be expected, right? If you want to be the big man on campus, if you want to be the football superstar or the, you know, the debate king, high school may be a better choice. You know, so we can be honest with families, and we can, you know, sort of predict and tell them kind of what your experience will be like here. The biggest factor for not having the college experience is drinking age. You know, I mean,
they're not going to reach that.
They're not going to reach that even when they graduate. And so they go, you know, one of them told a story about going to Stanford and having this wonderful welcome reception at a bar, and they couldn't go, you know. So, yeah, they run into these things. Another person I interviewed said, well, he went to Europe for his graduate school because the drinking age is younger in Europe. You know, so us educators who are doing these programs are not necessarily thinking drinking age is the thing that's going to make a difference in somebody's life, but it does tend to be something that people consider. I think the Robinson Center, through its summer programs, also shows how we can engage students in very exciting and above grade level kinds of experiences. Have you ever been in our summer programs?
I don't believe I've had the chance to do that.
Yeah. So I think that we model curriculum and instruction that challenges young people, and we're definitely sharing that with other people. I do workshops here for teachers, sharing it with Bellevue, for example, your class. You know, what you're receiving in Tom's class is not what you would be getting from your history teacher in high school, right? So, so I think the Robinson Center can play a role in modeling the type of curriculum and instruction that will prepare kids to be successful in college, that will, you know, open windows to different interests. You know, we do the physics of roller coasters in the 5th and 6th grade. We do philosophy, you know, kids, the meaning of life when you're a 6th grader. You know, so I think we open worlds to students who, taking a regular curriculum, might not see that.
So there's a lot of communication between the Robinson Center and the gifted curriculums throughout the area, like the Bellevue School District program and like the STEM High School in Redmond.
Well, So that's coming. I don't think it's there yet. I'm still fairly new. This is my 5th year. I don't think the previous director reached out in that way. I think because I train teachers in the summer and I do workshops all over the state that the Robinson Center is getting more visibility. We're trying to get the word out there that we pay for anybody on free and reduced lunch to come to our Saturday classes, and we have half tuition in the summer. So we're trying to disseminate what we do. You know, the mission of the Robinson Center is the same as the mission of the university, which is teaching, research, and service. So trying to make those 3 things a priority.
That's excellent. So what direction do you see the Robinson Center going off in the future?
Well, you know, I just had a phone call today from 3 parents in Highland that were very jealous that we're at Interlake and not in Highland. They've heard about the courses that we're doing there. So I think one direction for us in the future is to have people like Tom teach online classes. You know, that it's not like an online community college, but it's really a high level class that kids who are in rural areas or kids who are in not close enough to commute can take our courses. So I think that's one direction, the outreach on the online. Another direction is I'm trying to get endorsement in gifted education so that all of your teachers will know how to challenge you. This is something that the Whitworth University has in Spokane, but we don't have it here.
Okay.
So there's a lot of room for growth.
Thank you again for spending all of this time to speak to us. We really do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
I know I didn't know where to look, so you're gonna
No,
have to.
it's
No problem.
right there.
No problem.
Okay. Okay.
Totally
So-
fine.
Okay.
So yeah, on your way out, I'll show you the 2 rooms where our kids
Great. Yeah, I think
Inhabit.
that's Abby.